Okay, this is the third video on completing the square, and let's get started. First, we want to figure out what to do when a is not equal to 1. So here's an example. If I've got 5x squared equals 6x plus 8, okay? First of all, I want to get all the terms that contain x's to the on one side. In this case, I'm going to move them to the left. I'm going to rewrite it as 5x squared minus 6x equals 8. And now what I want to do is I want to get rid of the coefficient in front of the quadratic term. That's this 5 here. So I'm going to divide everything by 5. And that'll help. And then I'll have just a quadratic term with a coefficient of 1. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, now what I can do is figure out what I need over here as a third term to make this a perfect square trinomial. And so again, the trick is to take the coefficient of your middle term, or your linear term, and divide it in 2 and square it. So I'm going to take negative 6/5 divided by 2 and square it. And negative 6/5 divided by 2 is negative 3/5. And that squared is 9 over 25. All right. So what I need to do is insert 9/25 over here on the left. And since I'm going to do it on the left, I have to do it on the right too. And as you can see, when I do it on the right, I'm going to have to deal with the fact that I've got different denominators. So let me go ahead and factor this perfect square trinomial that I have into x. And it's going to be minus 3 over 5 squared. And that's all of this factored equals, okay, let me turn this 8/5 into 40/25. That's going to make it a little bit easier to deal with. And then I can go ahead and add them together, and I'm going to end up with 49/25. Okay, now to solve this, I'm going to go ahead and take the square root of both sides, like so. And now that I have that, I can simplify this left side to x minus 3/5. And on the right, I'm going to turn it into plus or minus the square root of 49/25, well, which is, since they're both perfect squares, I'm going to turn that into plus or minus 7 over 5. Okay, so x minus 3 over 5 equals plus or minus 7 over 5. I'm running out of room, so I'm going to rewrite this all up here. And we'll go ahead and add 3/5 to both sides. But we're going to do it for both positive 7/5 and negative 7/5. All right, so I'm going to have x equals negative 3/5. Oops, sorry, plus 3/5 plus 7/5. That's one of my possibilities. Okay, and the other one's going to be x equals 3/5 minus 7/5, because again, this was plus or minus 7/5. When I simplify the top one, I get 3/5 plus 7/5 is 10 over 5, or 2. Okay, and on the bottom, I'm going to get negative 4/5 as my answer. Those are the two answers. So x equals 2 or negative 4/5. All right, let's do an example of completing a square to rewrite a trinomial into vertex form. So first of all, I need to know what I need as a third term to turn this into a perfect square trinomial. So I'm going to take half of my b and square it. Well, 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 3 squared is 9. So I need a plus 9 in here. And what I'm going to do in this case is that since I'm going to add 9, instead of me adding 9 to the left-hand side, I'm actually going to subtract 9 later on in the expression. That's going to leave me a portion of this expression. Now it's got 5 terms. There's a portion of it, the first 3 terms make a perfect square trinomial. So I can factor those into x plus 3 squared. And I can simplify this part, the 2 minus 9, into negative or minus 7. And I've got a quadratic in vertex form. Very nice.